And this old woman says hello every day. I pass her by. I say ohayou gozaimasu. She says ohayou gozaimasu to everyone. Ohayou gozaimasu. Hey guys, it's Victor. Give me a break, man. Thanks for clicking on my video. Here we are again, and let me just start by saying thank you for everyone who gave me a thumbs up on the last video. I appreciate the support. It was amazing. That really helped. Like I got over 500, I think almost 550 thumbs up, and about 4,000 views on the last video. Yeah, so thanks a lot for that. I appreciate that. I was surprised. I was talking to Hiko Simon. He was very impressed that I still got people who are willing to watch my videos, and I'm appreciative of that. I'm going to talk about a few subjects today. This is, by the way, this is a laundry video. Oh yeah, and before we start, go ahead and drop me another thumbs up because you did last time, and yeah, help me out with the algorithm. Drop a little something for the rhythm. This is a garbage, what do you call it? This is where the garbage trucks leave from here. It's funny, in the morning, the garbage truck guys, they all get together and do exercises, and they're super friendly to everyone in the community. And ironically, because it's a garbage truck station, the area in front of the garbage truck, like, the green here, is immaculate. But like in the apartment building over there, man, where people live, what a mess that place is. It's disgusting. I know people who live there. Anyway, I was talking to Red Man in Japan who watched my video too, and he said, dude, you broke so many laws, but it was fun to watch. Anyway, on my last edit, I apparently made some people a little bit groggy, so I'll do my best to keep the camera pointed in one direction. But let's get to it. Now I'm putting my mouth close to the camera so you can hear my voice well. We don't have to pick up all the street sounds so much, but I want to tell you about a couple things. First of all, I did a video about a week ago about a guy named Sigma Boy, who's apparently a German kid. He has a kind of a blank, dumb look on his face. He can do flips, which is cool, but if you don't know who he is, then you're lucky. But he's like he's a new annoying streamer or influencer, I guess you call him. Is that really? He doesn't even talk. He has a super big boom box that he rolls around like a suitcase, goes on to subways, and then plays it right before it's getting off. So right before the subway doors open, then he wheels out his suitcase speaker, and then does a backflip. And that's it. That's his whole spiel. Now, if he were a little bit interesting, that might be something, but it's quite, he's a one-trick pony, like I said. He's got one act, that's all he does. But I thought, I saw him because he was in Japan, and quite annoying. You don't do shit like that in Japan. I checked his page, and apparently he's traveling the whole world doing this. But if he's from Germany, then, oh, there's a Shinkansen. That's pretty cool. If he's from Germany, then going to Paris, I saw one he did in front of the Eiffel Tower. It's not so annoying. And if you're outside, it's not so annoying because you can expect to have some kind of noise like that right now. You hear noise all over the place, right? It's cars honking and people being loud, and there's buskers and stuff. Well, not here, but it's not surprising. However, if you're in a subway and you're the only one doing this, then there's a pigeon making a nest. Then it is kind of rude. Now, someone in the comments, he's a troll. He got on here and said I was a big hypocrite because, wow, that's loud. See, Japanese, they don't mind. There's some Japanese guys, they get into that super loud, look how loud my motorcycle thing is. It's so annoying. Still, the Sigma Boys works. Because we're outside right now. He's going to pass by. Right? You're stuck in a subway with a guy playing music. That's like, oh my God. Oh, let's take a different route today, just for fun. Okay? Yeah, we'll take a different route. Keep going along the green. But I wanted to point out a couple things. First of all, a guy came on my subway. came on my subway. I think that's what she said. A guy got on my video and said I was being a hypocrite. Now this guy, it was funny because I checked the views. He wrote a comment, and then a few minutes later, there were 4 thumbs up on the comment. And I checked the views, and there were no extra views. Now, you can actually see how many people are watching the video during 1 hour. Yeah? The YouTube analytics will show you. And nobody, like one person had been there in the hour, but there were 4 thumbs up, which means this guy just has sock puppets, right? So he got on my video. He said I was a hypocrite for promoting the Yamanote Halloween train thing years ago. And now I'm blindingly hypocritical because I'm now supporting, I'm not supporting Sigma Boy. But there is a big difference. I mean, you can argue they're both bad, yeah. And just so you guys don't know about this is kind of an interesting story, and it goes back to a guy named Ronan Dave. Well, no, he's just a documenter. He's not the person in charge of this kind of the Halloween train. Let me explain what it is. So, the Yamanote line is a line that goes around in Tokyo. It's a loop. I'm pretty sure it's a loop subway. I don't live in Tokyo, so I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's a looping subway. Why? I'm here. I'm making circles around the camera, even though you can't see me because I got the camera pointed forwards. It's a loop line, and every year, starting I think in 1993 or so, maybe even 1980s. I don't know the complete history, but foreigners started getting together and organizing the Yamanote Halloween train. What they would do is they all agreed to get on the train and dress up and drink and basically cause a ruckus, right? But it wasn't just the foreigners, it was also Japanese, and it was Halloween. So it wasn't, it's a night that people expect some kind of craziness, right? It isn't just random, like the Sigma Boy just randomly annoying people on the train. It's a little bit different, right? I think you'd have to agree. It is not the same. I mean, you can still argue they shouldn't do it. And until last year, Halloween in Japan was a huge deal. And Japanese taking part of it. I think the majority of people were Japanese, actually. So it isn't just like a foreign-only thing. And if you look back at some of the videos, I'll link Ronan Day's video in the description. But you can see how he's interviewing Japanese people doing it. Japanese people are also having fun. And later it became huge, like in Shibuya. It became so huge, and Japanese kids were were becoming violent and overturning cars, and it became crazy, right? And to the point that they had to ban it. So they banned drinking on Halloween, I think 2 years ago. And this year, I think now, they've banned drinking in Shibuya completely. So, yeah, that sucks. You can't drink in public in Shibuya anymore. And they've stopped the Nagoya Halloween party too, I think because of the same reason. They were just worried about things getting out of control. But anyway, Halloween is a special day. It's like saying be quiet on New Year's Eve, you know? In New York City, people are going to be crazy on New Year's Eve. I used to drive a taxi in New York City, a yellow cab, when I was a university student. That's how that was my part-time job. My father did that too. I wanted to follow my father's footsteps and do a blue-collar job, really pay my own way. And I did that. And on New Year's Eve, man, I got to tell you, it was crazy. It would have been nuts for me to expect people to be quiet. People are just nuts on New Year's Eve. And saying in Japan, that's not the case. In Japan, on New Year's Eve, people stay home with their families. And on New Year's Day, they go to the jinja, the shrine. They're not like super crazy. They're not crazy parties. But, they do have crazy festivals. People do act out here too. It isn't just the foreigners. So the guy who trolled my video, you could still agree that it's bad. You could still disagree with me. That's not when I say it's not such a big deal. This is one of my favorite streets. This is the Endoji shopping center. And in a few months, they're going to have a huge summer festival here. And I walked with my kids last year. It's up and coming area. But anyway, that isn't the only thing I wanted to talk about. The other thing I wanted to mention, I thought you guys, yeah, I'm taking a long time to get to it. Look at the kids going to school alone here. That's kind of cool, huh? In Japan, kids can just go to school alone, or sometimes they go in groups. And this old woman says hello every day. I pass her by. I say, "Ohayou gozaimasu." She says, "Ohayou gozaimasu" to everyone. Ohayou gozaimasu. Yeah, up here ahead of me, you can see the kids are all walking together in a group. My son has become the captain of his group because he's in 5th grade now. Wow, it's amazing, 5th grade. What was I doing in 5th grade? I think this father is helping out. Yeah, he's like guiding them. So they have parents sometimes that come with them. Whoops. A lot of them, huh? Look at that. Now they're waiting to cross the street. Luckily in Doji, they don't allow cars most of the day. Only at night and in the morning. They let people in and out to get to their businesses. But beautiful area, this area. And behind here, behind Indoji on the right here, is a really nice little scenic, old-fashioned Japanese town. I've always thought it would be nice to live there. I'll take you through that right now. But what I thought would be interesting for you guys, as I'm finally getting to this, is to tell you about my first date in Japan and how I went out with the first girl in Japan, how that came to be. The first Japanese girl, I should say. I was kind of hunted by a Gaijin girl before that, but that's not such an interesting story. That's mostly a sad story. kind of a just sad, raw, gross story. The Japanese girl story is a little more interesting. So I got a school. I'll tell you how things happen, because this is all pre-internet, so it might be interesting for you guys. This is before the internet was really available publicly. This is all garbage. Look, people throwing this garbage. No, they're just signs. They're just coverings. Yeah. Okay. Taking in the sights here. Quite fun. So let's get to that story. I wanted a job, so I went to the international center, the Kokusai Center, and there they post job listings. They don't do that anymore because there have been so many bad jobs and people have complained about jobs that they don't want to take any responsibility for that. So they completely stopped letting people post jobs there. But in those days, in 1991, you could post a job. Look at this town, this beautiful old house. Right? You could post jobs and you could find jobs there. So I went there and I wrote down a bunch of numbers, and I went to a payphone because there was no cell phones in those days. And I would call a place and then go by and interview. And I interviewed at, I think, ECC, which is a huge school here. The big schools, I guess, are ECC and Eon, and there are other ones too, but GABA and I don't know, like a lot of kids schools. But those are still, I think, the big ones. I think Shohei Ohtani does commercials for one of them. They got the big budgets. And I got the job. But I said, well, do you mind if I wait? Because I wanted to see what else was out there. So I love these houses, man. Check it out. I've seen this a million times, but I still enjoy the view. I'd love to live. You think you'd want to live in one of these houses, right? Except in the wintertime, these are terribly cold. The heat just escapes, right? So I found I found a job finally. I went to this interview at this place called Sunrise. I think Sunrise. Was it Sunrise? It was called Sunrise. And I got a job at Sunrise. And it's just in Eikaiwa. And they had me working in the Nakamura Ward area. And then they had me also working at their other, like the branch school in Tajimi, which is about an hour or about a 40 minute ride away by train. So that was, I used to think that was a big deal. I ride my bicycle 40 minutes to school now, almost. So I was doing that, and I had, I believe, Wednesdays off or Thursdays off. I forget which day, but one day a week I had off. Oh, and I had Sunday off. Sunday and or Wednesday or Thursday. And the boss said, you're not allowed to get another job, right? He said, you got to work only for my school. And I don't honestly know if that's legal, but the other two teachers that were there, they told me that they were working side jobs on their day offs, you know, work at another school for a little extra cash. And in those days, I was just after the bubble, and you could get a private job for like 5,000 to 7,000 yen an hour, even more sometimes. Now I'm breaking the law here. You could do that. So I got a job at a place called Kyoto Yale. All these places are out of business now, so I can mention them. I believe Kyoto Yale was paying 2,500 or 3,000 an hour. Look at these people cleaning up here. Look at that. That's Japan, man. These people probably work in this building, and part of their duty to keep the neighborhood clean. The company has them go out and clean. It's part of their duties, you know. One guy complained on my video the other day that he thought it was beneath them. They're paid to be businessmen, not to clean up. But I don't think manual laborers should be beneath anybody. Yeah, that's good. Anyway, so Kyoto Yale was paying about 2,500 or 3,000 an hour a class, and they would give me anywhere from 3 to 7 hours. So it's a good chunk of change at the end of the day. You get like a 10,000 yen or something. I don't remember how they paid, but they had a kind of a scumbag manager there named, what was his name? Well, I don't remember his name, but he was a scumbag, Oji-san, kind of balding, wore a fedora, liked to gamble on horses. But I met my first Gaijin friends there, one guy named Mark, who I still know, and he's still here today. I was going to say polygamous, but he's not polygamous. He's one of those guys that speaks all those languages. I forget, what do they call those? Multi, you know. Oh, as soon as I make a video, my vocabulary just becomes crap. I know this word. What's this word? You know, the guy who can speak like 20 languages, okay? One of those guys. Anyway, I met Mark there. We became friends. Showed me the ropes, so to speak. But the first day I worked there, I met a chick named Yasuko, who I thought was stunning, so cute, long black hair, and so vivacious. And it was her last day, And Kyoto Yale had this kind of like a membership system, like you pay a certain amount of money and you can come to as many classes as you want, kind of like a 24-hour gym, which I've always thought it's a great idea. So they had that, right, going for them. I'll go down, show you a different route, go against traffic. The guy's talking to himself. And, yeah. So I met her on the first day. Her name was Yasuko, and she worked at Maruzen, a huge bookstore that no longer, it got torn down, they moved it somewhere else, but there used to be a huge bookstore in Sakai named Maruzen. A lot of foreigners would go there because you could get English books. And in those days, we didn't have internet, so books were still relevant. Magazines were relevant. You could buy like a magazine. You could buy Time magazine. Like, oh my God. That was like how we stay connected. Oh, it's so different now, isn't it? Like for me, looking forward to Time magazine was a thing. You know, a Newsweek magazine, Time magazine. That was a thing to do, to look forward to a magazine. Not anymore, right? Anyway, so I found out she worked there. So I started, and I didn't know anybody. I was in Japan. I got my job at that company, Sunrise, and they had an apartment that I could rent from them for 55,000 yen a month. And I'm pretty sure the prices have not changed, believe it or not. Rent is okay, and we are back. Anyway, I don't remember where I left off, but the camera got cut off for some reason. Yeah, so I found out that this girl worked at Maruzen, the bookstore, so I started kind of looking. I would go there anyways, to get my Newsweek and Time. But I started looking for her, and one day I finally found her, and I was like, oh, this is where you work. She worked on the first floor. She wore one of those cute little uniforms, and I asked her out, and she said no, and I came back, and I asked her out again, she said no. It took like 3 or 4 times, but I finally got her to say yes, so we went out on a date. And I gotta backtrack a little bit and remind you that this was pre-internet days. So I had no idea what to expect, you know. There's no one telling me what people were like there. Before I came to Japan, I was naive enough, or, you know, just normally ignorant enough to think that everyone wore kimonos and was super conservative, and I was pretty much resigned. I mean, back in the States, I was okay. I had girlfriends, and I was a normal kid. I wasn't like an incel or anything. We didn't even have incels, the word incel in those days. I don't think incels exist. I think people got laid back in the day. I think, ironically, now that society's become smaller due to the internet, people also become shyer when it comes to hooking up with people. But yeah, we have to look into that. Did incels exist back in the day? Anyway, so I came to Japan thinking I was never gonna have a girlfriend because they're all super conservative and shy and blah blah blah. And of course, nothing could have been further from the truth, but I did not know that. So I finally got this girl to go out with me after like 4 attempts. She finally said yes, so that was cool. And she picked the place because I didn't know anything. And my communication skills in Japanese were near zero. I'd been in Japan about, I don't know, 3 or 4 months by then. And I still didn't speak Japanese very well. It took a little bit, right? Well, we went to a cocktail bar, which used to be the thing back in the day. They used to have cocktail bars all over the place, and they would advertise with a big cocktail, a neon cocktail outside. Oh, we can go through the park now. It should be nice and quiet in the park. And oh, beautiful! I love the park. I'm a nature boy. Was my nickname back in the day. But we went to a cocktail bar. We ordered our drinks, and of course they're crazy expensive, like $10 for just a drink. Which, when I was 21 or 22 years old back then, so you have to remember it seemed like a lot of money for a kid who just came to Japan with very little money. I remember she ordered a drink, and then I ordered her a drink, and her drink came with like Tabasco sauce that she was supposed to add into her drink. Mine didn't, but as a joke, you know, I grabbed her Tabasco to put it into my drink. And the waitress came over, and she was dressed like a cocktail waitress. She was dressed in her, you know, waitress uniform. And she came over here and reprimanded us, like, "That's not for him. That's just for you." And I thought, well, that's pretty rude. It was funny. And I didn't let it interfere with our date. We had a good time, and then we went to another place, and we had dinner, and then it was kind of time to go, getting late. So we were walking back up the stairs, and I don't remember who initiated it, but we kissed. Yeah, we kissed right on the stairs as we were leaving the restaurant. And I was like, wow, you know, I was surprised, of course. And we went back to my tiny little crappy apartment. I paid $55,000 for, which was a 1 LDK, the way we measure things here. It was a living room, tiny living room. No, it was living room kitchen. So basically a 6-room, what do you call that? Cheap plastic floor kitchen. With 2 burners. Next to the kitchen was the bathroom, bath, toilet, all combined. And then if you walk through the kitchen, you would get to the bedroom, which is also 6 tatami mats, but it was tatami, tatami mat flooring. And I had a futon. And we came back to my apartment, and, you know, we did what all young people do. We made love. And I was super surprised because, wow, I did not expect that to happen on the first date, you know. So she became my girlfriend, Yasuko. And it was crazy. Like, we had this really romantic, very healthy relationship. Let's just say, put it that way. But, you know, after getting to know each other for a while, we realized it was mostly just physical. Not that I should complain about that, but I remember being very surprised by the whole thing. So I guess that was it. I mean, what ended up happening was, yeah, I was still working at that Kyoto Yale school, and once a week. And one day we had it was a Halloween party. Yeah, so we must have lasted a few months, about a year passed. Yeah, maybe 6 months or so. And then I met a girl at Kyoto Yale who was a high school girl, believe it or not. Remember, I'm 21 or 22. Now it's looking bad. She's a high school girl and she's just about to graduate. Oh, that's what. No, I'm sorry. So I met her right before she graduated, and then she quit the school because she graduated. That's what it was. And I remember the reason I remember this is because I got in trouble because the staff was like, "You shouldn't be dating students," and I'm like, "Well, she's not a student. She quit." You know. And it wasn't like a big age difference. Remember I'm 21 or 22 and she's 18 or 19. Yeah, she's 19. So it's like 3 years difference. Yeah. Yeah. So now she would be, wow, she's 54. Oh my God. I wonder what she looks like now. Anyway, I started kind of getting interested in her. So, yeah, I asked her on a date and we went on a date and she's like, "Don't you have a girlfriend?" I'm like, "Yeah, but so that's what happened. I was pretty much tired of my girlfriend at the time. So as soon as after the first date with her, I broke up with Yasuko, and that was it. That was it. The weird thing is, she really wanted to stay friends, and I was like, okay. So she stayed friends, and she wanted to take my English class. She still wanted to, which is really weird. I'm sure some of the guys, foreigners who live here, are like, yeah, that doesn't usually happen. I think when you break up with a girl in Japan, you never talk to them again, usually. That's usually the case. But after I think I taught her for a little while, and then my friend Jeff came from America. And when Jeff came, he didn't have any classes. He didn't have any jobs or classes or anything, so I think I gave her to him. And this is something that seems really weird now, looking back on this. And you could even say it's probably some kind of racism, but in those days, foreigners would just give each other lessons. Like, okay, take this student, you know. There was this guy named Greg who was working at Kyoto Yale, and he left the school. He went off to, oh, there's a beautiful tree. Look at that. He went off to travel Asia, and before he left, he gave me this really nice private class of this beautiful tree. These four Japanese mothers, and they were all rich housewives, and I would go to their house once a week. One of their houses was always a different woman's house, and they would all sit around a coffee table, and we would study English for an hour. And then we would have coffee and cake for 30 minutes. That was the deal. So it's an hour and a half. And it paid pretty well. I don't remember exactly how much it was, but it paid pretty well. But it was basically there. It wasn't great. One of the girls could speak English kind of okay. Well, I shouldn't say girls, women, but the other ones were so-so. One of them was really racist, I remember. Which is another story, a story for another day. But anyway, that is the story of my first girlfriend. I ended up giving her lesson to Jeff, and I think they even slept together. Of course, that was a long time ago. Jeff was an old, very good friend of mine, and he ended up getting married, dying, having a kid, and then dying. Oh, yeah. That's another sad story of my life. But anyway, I often think about him and what he would be doing these days and what he would be thinking about our certain situation. Very smart guy. Things were different back then. I mean, it's easy to go back and judge how you should have behaved back in those days. But, you know, I was a young kid. Looking for love, and I did find love in that second girlfriend, and she broke my heart. I think I mentioned her once in this video. I talked about her once a long time ago, and someone wrote, "Wow, how can you be married when you're still in love with her?" Which is not the case. But of course, if you think about someone that you used to be in love, you can't help that feeling a little nostalgic, right? And you even get a lump in your throat, like, yeah, that was a nice relationship. But anyway, what a beautiful day. Anyway, that's my story. That's the story of how I got my first girlfriend in Japan and how long it lasted. And she ended up getting married and moving away. And well, we lost touch. But I called her once out of the blue because I found her phone number. It was written found her phone number. I was looking at an old address book, and I was just curious to see what she was doing. So I called her house. Because remember, we didn't have cell phones in those days. I called her house, and her mom answered. And I said, I'm her old English teacher. I didn't want to, which was true. The first time I met her, I taught her English. Right? And she said, oh, she's married now, and she lives in Karuizawa, which is a really fancy, like, resort town. I think northeast of Tokyo. So who knows? Maybe she married someone really rich and she's living the life. But maybe I'll look for that phone number and call her up and give you guys an update someday. Anyway, I better take a left here to get to my school. I just wanted to bring you guys on a different route today so you could appreciate Japan on my bike ride. Hope you guys liked it. Please drop a comment, or if you have any love stories you'd like to share, yeah, let me know. Or you know what? I'd really be interested in knowing what your image of Japanese women is, because my image of Japanese women was they are shy and reserved, and they're not prone to, they don't go sleep with you on the first date, okay? So I was super, you could imagine, I'm 21, 22 years old. I'm like, oh my God, first date. Like, yeah. So, yeah, Japanese are not what you might think. But that's one girl. That's not fair to say all Japanese women, of course. I'm sure other Japanese women are different. Anyway, that's all I got for you. Thanks for watching, guys. Talk to you soon.